I think it's fair to say we have far too many Dalek stories beginning with the letter R. It comes as no surprise to those who lived through it, but 2020 was absolutely awful, wasn't it? On the bright side, though, Doctor Who did very well. A lot of creativity came out of the year, including the loving tribute and real end to a great show, Farewell Sarah Jane, the what might have been of Doctor Who and the Time War, and the delicately written The Secret of Novice Haim and The Best of Days. Although Doctor Who was off the air for the rest of 2020, the sacred flame first ignited back in '63 stayed burning brightly through the restrictions and lockdowns, and in spite of a very dark, uncertain world. Perhaps absence makes the heart, or in this case hearts, grow fonder, because Revolution of the Daleks was quite a welcome distraction. Not a masterpiece by any means. It does have the unfortunate caveat of functional dialogue that has become a lot more obvious since the recent series, which I wasn't fond of, and bear in mind, I liked Series 11, so I'll already get shit thrown at me for saying that, and far too many examples of what Roger Ebert described as the idiot plot exist throughout the New Year's Day special. The scientist Leo, for instance, deciding to create a new Dalek mutant, and the return the fandom didn't exactly ask for Jack Robertson, who throughout the episode gets more and more exaggerated. While initially happy that Chris Chibnall brought back a villain whose fate was left open-ended, I think our showrunner really missed the boat on having him not get exterminated by the Daleks. I suppose that's what happens when something is written and made in advance of the year it gets broadcast in, much like the Prime Minister being modelled on Theresa May rather than Boris Johnson, who according to Russell D Davies is a plastic clown controlled by the Nestian consciousness. No, really, he actually wrote that. Instead, he gets away, again, and doesn't even get a scolding from Emily Maitlis, who famously called out former comedy writer and transphobe Graham Linehan. Speaking of transphobia, I think the production team should have read the room before letting the Doctor recite the opening lines to Harry Potter. It would have been more neat and less problematic to have the Doctor tell herself stories of past adventures, maybe something like, "The Brigadier had called me, Sarah and Harry on the space-time telegraph and we had headed to Scotland," but that's just me. The Doctor gets broken out of space jail, no really, by Captain Jack Harkness, played by John Barrowman, who had dropped by previously in Fugitive of the Judoon in a great but somewhat clumsily placed scene tying into a story arc that ultimately proved messy and divisive. Although it would have been hilarious to see Jack carrying the Doctor bridal style, they do break out of jail via the power of time-stop-zorbing. The reunion of Captain Jack and the Doctor is 100 times welcome in my book. It's strange to think that it was 11 years to the day that we'd last seen him and the Doctor in a scene together, and to get to see a character I associate with my year of Doctor Who once more is great stuff. I can't be objective. I wouldn't want to be. Is it obvious that Jack has gotten older since last time we saw him put on the coat and the vortex manipulator? Yeah, but do I care? No, I don't. And you shouldn't either. I think in terms of characterization and relevance, I liked how the Daleks were handled in this episode. The image of a Dalek or defense drone being used as riot control is a very unsettling image, and much like the later image of the Daleks outside Downing Street will be remembered for years to come. The whole problem of the defense drone Daleks is solved by the other Daleks arriving on Earth and destroying them, so essentially the Daleks destroy the defense drones because of a copyright infringement, and that's absolutely hilarious to think about. It's also very cathartic because I remember being a kid watching Victory of the Daleks and seeing the Paradigm Daleks destroy the Bronze Daleks and just feeling quite disappointed, so it's a little bit cathartic to have them be the ones to destroy the Daleks, but maybe that's just a bit cheap, I don't know. Revolution of the Daleks takes a leaf from Remembrance of the Daleks, with the idea of a civil war between the drones and the SAS Daleks, as they're called by the characters. Nicholas Briggs' voice and the modulator settings used for the drones even echoes the one from the 1988 serial. As it's been pointed out by Big Finish fans, there's also the influence of the story Blood from the Daleks. The production is a high standard, as I've come to expect from Doctor Who lately, which includes the new, more chrome version of the 2005 Dalek prop, and the Doctor's confrontation with them from the TARDIS is an instantly impressive set piece. It's like a double-page spread from the old Battles in Time magazine or even a Doctor Who annual come to life. I think it's difficult to say where this will lie in terms of how highly it holds up against the rest of the Chibnall, Strevens, Whittaker episodes so far. Will we lose the love for it over time, or will we appreciate it a lot more? Are we all just instantly positive to something like this after, the rather depressing news that we've had and, our own struggles with, lockdowns and that? One thing I can definitely appreciate is how Chris Chibnall handled Ryan and Graham's departure. I loved Bradley Walsh in Series 11, and it was great to finally have a Doctor Who character with dyspraxia like Ryan in the show, especially because this viewer here is living with it. But it's unfortunate that the two of them didn't have a lot to do in the last series, in particular Ryan, and it's the unfortunate side effect of having more than one companion to focus on. This is a problem that we saw with the very first TARDIS team, and we saw again in 1982 with Peter Davison and his first TARDIS team. But then again, you can have one companion and still never really get to know them, so just depends really, doesn't it? Case by case, context is key. However, I'm glad that the two of them got a decent exit. The departure of Ryan and Graham is not as permanent as a death and leaves the door open to see Bradley and Tosin again if the showrunner desires. It was a nice idea to have them end their journey on the note that they started on with Ryan trying and failing to ride a bike, while the spirit of Grace watches on with pride. I think that was quite well handled. I just wish I had more of an emotional connection, but maybe that's me just getting older. Like I said, I don't know how Revolution of the Daleks will fare in the years to come. After all, I was reasonably positive to Twice Upon a Time when it aired, but over time I can see more and more fault with it. But I am a human being, and opinions on Doctor Who are known to change over time. And that's the same with every fan. In the moment right now, I think it's alright. Good to have Jack back and to even see him do the Leslie Nielsen getting attacked kind of acting with the Dalek mutants. After a year of hell, I don't mind seeing the Doctor and her friends one more time, and if you're gonna get people talking about the show, then who better than the Daleks to face off against their immortal enemy? It's interesting to think that this is the last episode made before COVID-19 started to spread across the world, so you might have, like I did, somewhat dissonant to see characters not keep the distance. I've no fixed expectations on what kind of year 2021 will be, nor have I any expectations of what season 13 will be. Lucky 13 or unlucky, only time will tell. It's a tough time for everyone, and I hope that the people involved in Doctor Who stay safe and well. Entertainment is good and all, but you need to prioritise your health now more than ever. So, Revolution of the Daleks is a 6 out of 10 for this fan at this point in time. Will I like it better in the future? Again, I can't say for certain. At this moment in time, I think it's a flawed but welcome adventure to begin 2021. And yeah, hopefully hopefully things work out. Hopefully we'll get a season in this year. I don't know if it's going to become a worse year than 2020 or if it'll be a better year, but hopefully it's a year with the Doctor and not a year without her. Oh, yeah, and best of luck, John. You're a great comedian, and I've no doubt you'll be a welcome asset to the new series of Doctor Who.